Yo, what is up, y'all? My name is Robert Donaldson, and welcome back to another edition of Rob's Best Bets. And in this episode, we are once again talking about college hoops, baby, here on the hardwood. And this is day 4 now of the college basketball season. And through the first 3 days, it's been a little bit up and down. The first day was a fantastic day, and then we've had two losing days are never, good or bad. It's just bad. But we've had 2 losing days in a row. Now, that being said, here on Thursday, we do have a really fantastic slate, despite it being kind of a smaller slate in the college basketball world. And I am very excited to jump into those picks. But first, we do need to take a second to shout out today's sponsor, Underdog Fantasy. And if you haven't already signed up using promo code ROBDFB, I highly recommend you guys do so. But with all that being said, y'all, let's go ahead and jump into the college basketball picks here on November 6th. All right, first up, we are taking a look at a matchup here between Campbell and West Virginia. And West Virginia, Ross Hodge, obviously another coaching change for the Mountaineers. And Ross Hodge, I think, is actually going to be turning out to be a really good head coach for this program because of the physicality that he brings from North Texas. Now, the thing about Ross Hodge and his style of ball is that it's not going to be really pushing the pace that we saw Wisconsin, who took on Campbell, and Campbell's first game this season sort of pushed to that level. And although that game ended up as a 32-point blowout, Campbell was actually right there alongside Wisconsin for more than 20 minutes of game action. And I think because of that blowout in game 1, we're getting a little bit of an inflated line here for Campbell in game 2. And for that reason, I say we go ahead and take the 16.5 points with the Camels for 2 units for our first bet here on Thursday. For pick number 2, we are heading out to the jungle, baby, where we have Merrimack taking on Auburn. And the last time we saw Auburn in the jungle on their home court, they were struggling with Bethune-Cookman. They nearly lost that game. Heck, Bethune-Cookman was actually missing their best player in Dr. Bradley, who I think if he was playing in that game with his elite scoring ability, his elite defense, Bethune actually, I think, probably wins that game. I don't know why he missed it, but I digress. And now we're looking at this matchup here where Auburn, with no Bruce Pearl, obviously. This is game number 2 in the Bruce Pearl absence. And I do think that this is the perfect opponent to really open it up against, because nothing hurts more than your pride when you're a team that just played in the Final Four and you go up against a team like a Bethune-Cookman and they probably play better than you, for most of that game. And Merrimack on the other side is not a team that puts up a ton of offense. And for that reason, I think Auburn can actually win this game going away. And for that reason as well, I say we go ahead and lay it. The 23.5 for 4 units for our second bet here on Thursday. For pick number 3, we are heading out to North Dakota, where we have a matchup here between UC Riverside and the North Dakota Fighting Hawks. And North Dakota is an interesting team because last year when they had Trace and Eaglestaff, a lot of people fell in love with this team in the Summit League tournament and later in the season. And I certainly understand the appeal of, hey, can they build on that momentum even in Trace and Eaglestaff's absence? But the reality is, even when they were kind of playing hot towards the end of the season, it wasn't a very good team. It was a volume scorer who was putting up, those 50-point games and those crazy point numbers, but it wasn't really a substantive performance where he was playing good defense on the other side or that they were playing cohesive around him. It was literally just him and everybody else. And I do think from that standpoint, when you are looking at UC Riverside, I'm actually very intrigued. Even in the absence of Mike Magpayo, who left to go to Fordham, Gus Agranal is actually one of those guys who is another D2 head coach who went to the D2 Final Four in recent seasons and is now making that transition to Division I hoops. I really liked backing these guys over the past few years, and I'm willing to back him here again. So let's go ahead and take UC Riverside on the outright money line for 3 units for our third bet here on Thursday. All right, for our final bet here on Thursday, we are heading out to Portland, where we have a matchup here between Arkansas Pine Bluff and the Portland Pilots. And the interesting thing with this dynamic is obviously Portland is a team out of the WCC that is a mid-major team, and they're not a top-end mid-major team, but Arkansas Pine Bluff on the other side are a disaster. They're one of the worst teams in college basketball, seemingly year in and year out, and I do think that Portland this season actually has some reasonable upside, and they are laying 15.5 points here, but 15.5 against Arkansas Pine Bluff might as well be 4.5 or 5.5 against anybody else, and I do think that Portland will cover this game, but because of the line being sort of an abnormality, I say we just take a tentative stab and bet 1 unit on Portland here to close out the night, laying the 15.5 for our final bet here on Thursday. All that being said, I really want to thank you guys for checking out today's video, and if you do want to show some love, make sure you drop a like on this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and make sure you guys comment down below. But with all that being said, y'all, I will see you in a future video. Take it easy.